Hello my loves, how are we this evening? I'm jumping on super quick. I literally have 17 minutes to do this live stream. I have a dinner date and I thought this was perfect to be doing this topic. I was in a conversation with one of my friends today, and she's been going through some stuff with a man in her life, which is really helpful when you have friends. It's a relationship coach, because she'll love me for this topic, because I said, you need to learn how to fuck his heart open with your feminine radiance. That was the exact words that I used. And so here I am now. I'm like, oh, she's like, how do you do that? And I'm like, yes, how do I explain this? Because this is kind of what I do every day through Tantra. And so I'm going to touch on just a few things a little bit about this. Hey, Roberts. Please say hello if you're here. Oh, we've got quite a few people on. Don't be shy. Please say hi. As I said, I'm not going to have heaps of time to do this one. So, okay, so this is what it's about, right? And I think that this is like really key to know, really super key to know about men, right? Is that men are literally starving for feminine energy, like craving it, craving feminine energy. And sometimes this may look like wanting to fuck, this may look like wanting to ejaculate, this may look like, it may come off as this sexual desire. And so I've actually had a recent experience with this, where I had a guy that expressed his sexual desire to me, and then what he really needed was feminine energy. And we explored where I danced for him and I pleasured myself for him, and he was just like he just needed to receive feminine energy, and it wasn't necessarily about having to touch me or having to get off. Because what's happening is, for a lot of men, is that under this kind of raw sexual desire and is vulnerability, and is wanting to connect, and sensitivity, and wanting to express, but but not knowing how to do that, right? Not knowing, and not having the knowledge, or there's a lot of conditioning around that. Yeah, a lot of conditioning. And then what happens though is that women will often shame these men for expressing. And this is a conversation I had on this phone with this guy, where he wanted to come and have a tantra session, and he was like, can I ejaculate? Can I touch you? Will you be naked? And I noticed in my mind, I automatically went into, oh, this guy's not coming for the right reasons. Like, this was kind of where my head went. And then I kind of, went into explaining what Tantra is, and then he said, look, let me tell you what I need. My wife passed away 2.5 years ago, and I automatically felt so bad. I was like, oh my God, And I said, I know what you need. You need an intimate, let's do an intimate touch session, which we're giving and receiving touch, where he said, I just need some feminine pampering. Like, he just literally, but in his mind, like how he explained it to me, like I was in like kind of the story of like, that's not what Tantra's not about ejaculation. It's not about me. It's not, this is about you, and it's about you receiving. Like, this is kind of where my head was at, and when I was explaining to him, and I was still explaining it, and I didn't shut him down for this. I totally got what he was saying and everything, and I said, well, let me tell you like what Tantra's about, and how my sessions work and sort of stuff. And then I intuitively was like, this is what you need. And intuitively, when he came and he saw me, I was like, I just knew I got to dance for this guy. And I said to him, this feels really vulnerable for me, but I feel like I need to dance for you. Is that okay? And he's like, yeah. He was like really excited for that. So I'm not going to go into too much detail about the session, out of respect for him, but just, it was a beautiful session. And, and it wasn't about me having to be naked or him necessarily getting to touch me. It was about the feminine energy, right? It was about me being in receptivity, okay, and about me being connected to myself, and about me being embodied, and about me surrendering. All these things that men are just craving for women, yet here we are trying to please and perform and look good, okay? Which is not feminine, right? It's we're not embodied. If we're trying to perform, or we're trying to please, we're trying to look good, we're not embodied. We're not surrendering. We're not in receptivity. All right, we're trying to do. We're trying to act, and men can feel it when you are not embodied. They can feel it when you're trying to look good, okay? They can feel that. They'll energetically feel, they'll know. And I'd love to hear for some men here, you know that when you're being intimate with a woman, when you're being intimate with a woman, whether she is just fully surrendered and letting go, and oh, look at all the love, guys. Oh my God. Oh, wow. Thank you so much. When a woman is just like fully surrendered and let go, she's in her bliss, and she's just, you know, she's not trying to do anything or not trying to please you. She's just like, but you're getting pleased by the fact that she's just fully surrendering, right? You're feeling like, you're like, wow, you know, you're like so happy by the fact that she's just completely surrendered and not trying to make things be perfect, okay? I could go so much more into this, but I just really wanted to touch on this a little bit while I had a little bit of time, because I know why women please, and I know it's actually wired in our DNA. It's to do with survival, okay? So it's a whole different story, but I do talk about this. I'm going to be talking about this I've got my Loving Men 3-day immersion for women. It's not until November, but yeah. Yes, I was getting to the radiance. That's Eric, exactly. The reason I came on here was actually I've just finished doing a live stream in my Soulful Sexual Woman group around experience that I had recently around being completely surrendered. And what happened is there was this point where I said to this guy, I said, what really makes me attractive to you? And he said, because you're radiant. That was the word he used. And when he said the word radiant, it was like that little critical voice that's in every woman's head, because there is this little voice of criticism that tells you need to get it perfect and you need to please and you need to impress this guy and all this kind of stuff. That little voice, which is constantly in a woman's head, and you need to look your best and you need to like have the best body and all this sort of stuff that drives us mad. When he said that I was a radiant woman, I felt like he really saw me, and that voice didn't even matter. Like, you know, and as a radiant woman, that voice is just really not there as much as if you're not radiant, because when you're a radiant woman, you're just your light, you're just your soul, you're just, it's amazing. And men feel that, like people feel that. They'll just be like, I feel really attracted to this person. I don't know why. Like, even if maybe it's not a physical attraction, it's like this energetic feeling. And I was so happy when he said I was a radiant woman. It was like I just started radiating even more. I was like, oh my God, he thinks I'm a radiant woman. And I was like on the verge of tears. Like, I was like, because I've been doing all this work on myself to get out of the old way of being, that old way of like being masculine, having to do and trying to please and trying to look good and trying to be the best and da-da-da-da-da. And not being in my body. So I'd done so much healing and work on this, and I was like, I just want to be a radiant woman. I just want to radiate, and just because when I'm radiant, I know that everything in my life is easeful and shiny and flow and fun and orgasmic. And it has been like, and I just, and really what's been big is shifting into receptivity, which is massive, which is absolutely huge. And you know, as women, we've become such overgivers, and we think that if we overgive, that person will like us, but we actually make it more difficult for them to like us, because we're not able to adjust this to receive. There we go. Receive when the other person is trying to give to us, which actually makes them really help us. Yeah, exactly, Eric, exactly that. And yeah, let me tell you, this experience I had with this guy, who's actually going to be here in 10 minutes. So that's why I'm like, okay, I've got to get this out of the way. But I just felt like I needed to talk about radiance and the importance of it. Is that this is the thing, right? The more present he is, the more I radiate. The more I radiate, the more present he is, right? And the more I can surrender, the more that he will hold space, and then I feel safe, and then, it's bliss. It's like this beautiful just flow, and it's incredible. Just like, it's like I feel like I found the secret to, but sorry, it's all like we're going all woo-woo. It's like radiating, and then it's not radiating. It's the flow, right? And so it's just like this, when you're radiating, it's just this like, it's just this feeling of relaxing and just surrendering and just bliss. And I found that in the last couple of weeks, I've been doing like way less than I've ever done, and then stuff has just been showing up for me, like things like without me necessarily having to do anything, and it's just incredible. Like it's just words are really, I find it really hard to find the words to describe this, but it's something that I never ever want to lose, right? I'm like, oh, I hope I never lose this. So the importance of radiance, like if you're a woman watching this, and I want this to be really, really important, is that we have to reclaim our radiance. We have to reclaim this part of us, okay? It's there. This is like the essence of who we are. Like this is the feminine, right? And so it's just so key, and there is a lot of things that we can do, but not from a like hard work trying to force things. It's really what I feel is creating safety, okay? It's like we have to create this mature masculine container within ourselves that makes us feel safe, and this was like where boundaries might come in, or it might be like, you know, where we feel safe to be vulnerable. And this is when I am vulnerable, like, which I love vulnerability, and then it's met, I feel really safe, right? And this is why, like, I create in my sessions. And this is I kind of gone off topic for what I wrote for the topic here, but, and this goes back to men, is like what I do is hold space for men. So in my Tantra sessions, it's really about me holding space for these men to tap into their vulnerability, okay, to get, you know, really be okay with having sexual desire, be okay with expressing sexual desire, and have that met, and have that be okay, even if it's not something I can meet, to still have that be okay, to be okay, and then explore, like, sometimes I find that one of the most intimate practices is when I touch a man's face, like just like really gently and softly, and just, you know, and breathing, and his neck and his heart, and just, oh, these men are like, oh, it's like I've just been wanting to be touched this way for so long, like, you know, they're just wanting, it's like their feminine is wanting to be nourished, their feminine is wanting to be safe, like their feminine is wanting to radiate, right? They're wanting this too, you know, just as much as we are. They're needing that nurturing, and they get nurtured by our feminine. If we're not tapped into that, how can they get nurtured, right? So, yeah, some of the most, I mean, I've had men like cry, like in my sessions, like, because they've never been touched by the feminine before. Like, they've never been touched because the woman they've been with have been trying to please and perform and look good and not fuck it up and get it perfect. And the key is that if you want to connect to his man's heart, you have to surrender, you have to receive him, you know, you have to appreciate, you have to acknowledge, you have to just look into his eyes and touch his, you know, just intuitively feel guided where you need to go, without going into, if I do this, it's going to make him come, like, or whatever, like it is. And it goes vice versa with men and women, right? And then you get to see each other, and then you get to see him, and he gets to see you, and it's just this, like, the most orgasmic, connected, heart-opening experiences can be in the most subtle ways, can really be in just the gentlest touch. It can be, oh, so beautiful, but so often we're trying to plan things out and get it perfect, and make things happen and force things to happen. If we do it this way, if we do it in this position, or if we do this, then it'll get me off, or whatever. So, you know, it's like, I think if I put this into a step-by-step form, which my feminine does not want to do, it's like this, I can't, you know, when I say fucking a man's heart open, it's not like step-by-step process, right? Every man's different. It's what you embody, it's the energy you show up in, right? It's creating that safety inside yourself to be vulnerable and to share with him your feelings, and create a safe space for him to do the same. And this is the key, and something that's really missing is that women don't make it safe for men to be vulnerable, okay? But they expect that he's the man, and he needs to be strong, and he needs to have his shit sorted, and, you know, if he shows 1 ounce of vulnerability, then he's weak. Like, it's crazy, right? But you need to hold space for us when our shit goes all fucked up, right? Like, but what about the men? Like, you know, if you want to get connected to his heart, you've got to hold space for him to be vulnerable. You've got to hold space for him to share his emotions and to share his fears. You
really, share his sexual desire and have that be okay, even if you're can't meet it right there, but appreciate and go, yeah, I can really feel why you'd love to do that with me. It's not something I'm not really feeling right now, but I would love to explore that with you sometime if that feels true for you. But thank you for sharing that with me, because obviously he's totally appreciating how sexy you are, and wants to sleep with you or whatever he wants to do. And if it's not something that you're necessarily into, still have the conversation, right? And still meet him and go, I really want to thank you for expressing your sexual desire. Yeah, and can I share something with you that I desire? Like, you create the safe space. At the end of the day, vulnerability and heart opening comes with safety. You got to create the safety. And we don't talk about it in a relationship. It's like, no, you got to keep it spicy. You got to keep it, you have novelty, and you got to try new things and all this sort of stuff. It's like, no, you've got to create safety first. Because guess what? You can't go deep with all these things you're going to try if you haven't got the safety and the trust and the comfortability first, right? So people that are trying to spice relationships up go into these things without having the safety there first. So when it comes to really connecting the heart, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to do a step-by-step process. I was like, no, it's not going to happen. But it is the safety, and it is, but for a woman, it's about being embodied, and it's about creating the safety inside yourself so that you can be vulnerable, and allowing yourself to say no sometimes if your body's not feeling it, getting connected to what your yes is, and really just, really getting connected to what it is that you need to feel safe, okay? And maybe it is a conversation that you need to have. I had this conversation the other night with a guy a beautiful man who was like, I have desire for you. And I spoke to him my vulnerabilities. I said, my vulnerability is that I think you'll have expectations of me because, I do this, I'm a sex coach and I'm a Tantra practitioner, and I'm afraid that I'm going to have to perform and please, and I don't want to do that. I want to completely surrender. And then he spoke his vulnerabilities. It was just like, wow, because I feel the same, because you are this Tantra practitioner. What if I'm not going to be up to scratch? And we just totally laid it out, totally met each other, and I was like, I totally get that. Like, thank you. And then I was talking, and then I was, talking about my boundaries were, and then we just totally got each other. It's like, yep, totally respectful. And then I said to him, okay, so now I know that I'm talking to feel safe, but I feel like I want you to touch me now. Like, I got to this point, it was like, I think you can touch me now. And it was like really vulnerable for me to say that, because I was like, oh my God, I feel like a little 16-year-old girl here, like being touched for the first time. Which is really beautiful, because I got to go on this maiden energy. I got to play with this maiden energy, which was totally about surrender and totally about vulnerability. And I let go of the need to be an expert or a sex coach or any of that felt like this space of where my head had been at. And I just got into my body and where my body wanted to go. And then I had the most incredible night of crazy tantric intimacy and surrender and play, but because I felt safe, because we'd had the conversation and when I'd been met, and realized that's what I really need, is to be with someone who can meet with me with that. So it's about creating safety. At the end of it, it's creating safety, and it's being embodied as a woman, and really allowing yourself to surrender. And if you don't feel safe, you need to have a conversation about what is it that I need to feel safe with that person. There's so much more to this I could go on, but I'm going to have to go because it's 5:32. So I'm going to go, but yeah, thank you so much for everyone who has been listening in on. I hope you got something out of it. I would love to know what your thoughts are around this. I am actually working on something really amazing. I'm going to be doing a Tantra couples weekend to talk about all this stuff at some point, and doing practices around it, around creating safety, holding space, and then different connection practices and some really juicy stuff. But I'm also working on a thing for women, a platform. Not sure how it's going to look yet, but I'm still developing it, around reclaiming our radiance. Okay, it's massive, like it's so huge, and just been game changing for me. Where I'm going to be really teaching some rituals and some practices, and just around the embodiment, around the surrender, around creating safety in ourselves, and just
yeah, it's just going to be juicy. It's going to be beautiful. And it's central to who we are. Like a radiance is like, this is at the heart of who we are. So I just feel that's where my work is starting to really go for women. So if it is something that you might be interested, of course, let me know, and I'll be sharing that soon. But not yet. It's not ready yet, but it'll be coming out very, very soon. It's coming from my radiance. Coming out from my radiance, and something I'm really excited to be exploring. So thank you everyone for being here, and for just all your love. Oh my God, I'm so receiving all your yumminess and all your love. I just fully so grateful to all of you. I just feel so much gratitude and love for everyone who just listens to me. I just love you all so much, and please feel free to share the love, yeah, or just take it for yourself. All right, much love. Bye.